those anecdotes. Mr. Nalin Kohli, I'm going to come to you and bring you into the discussion. We don't have the Congress party with us on the broadcast, and in the spirit of fairness, it's only right that I ask you the questions that Mohanji was also raising earlier. That what would you really achieve by renaming roads? What would you really achieve by creating statues? Because in reality, you haven't really honored the ideals. The other argument of the Congress party and your political opponents is that you're not ready to face the issues of price rise head-on or inflation or unemployment head-on. And that is why you create these gimmicks. Please respond to them.
The Congress party is entitled to say anything they want. And that's really of little consequence because it doesn't come from conviction. It possibly comes from dismay because the model that the Congress party has professed in the 55 odd years that they were in government is based on the politics of entitlement, where family matters, no one else. So the centrality of their own political structure, which is the party, and the centrality of their governance model has been family-centric. Now, that's their model. That model, in stark contrast, is the model since 2014, which is a people-centric government, which is what Narendra Modi ji has brought. So he first says, I'm the Pradhan Sevak, I'm not the Prime Minister. I'm one of you to serve you. The second is, if you look at the journey, it's about ensuring benefits reach those who need it most. So it's about not poverty alleviation, it's about poverty eradication of a new India that will be a $5 trillion economy one day. And we are moving in that direction. And an India that is self-confident in itself, about itself. It's not an India that is living in a legacy and shadow of a colonial past, feeling lack of confidence. This is a confident India, where Indians will march with their heads held high. Now, when we come to the naming of a road, it's not a road that's being named. It's much more. The focus changes from Rajpath, which is from ruling, to Kartavya, which is duty. Look at the location of the road. On both sides of the road, essentially, is the government, which goes right up to North Block, South Block, Parliament House, North Block, South Block, and then the presidential estate, or Rashtrapati Bhavan. And at the other end, you've got now Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, a freedom fighter of eminence, someone we've actually done great disservice to in our 70 years, 75 years, of not even recognizing them, how late it was to start bringing them central. And today, in a sense, you put an icon of the freedom movement. Gandhi Ji, obviously, as the father of the nation, enjoys that. Sardar Patel has come through what the Statue of Unity is. Now, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. It's not centric to one person. It's recognition of each one who contributed in India. But coming back, Kartavya Path is essentially service, duty towards the nation, starting from the government first. So, therefore, this is a historic, important day. The Congress party may want to demean it. That's their politics.
I don't think we're getting Mr. Mohan Kumar Mangalam back into the debate. So, I'll go back to Anuj Dhar and I'll discuss a few more points with him, and then I'll bring in all of you into the discussion. Anuj, you spoke about the fact that how there has been overlooking of certain ideals. And before the show began, you spoke about the facet of transfer of power. There's an interesting aspect that Mr. Chandrachud Ghosh also brings into the discussion, which is about imagining our independence struggle as some kind of a singular movement which had one way, one structure of non-violence. Not to run down the contribution of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, but the way our freedom fighters, including Subhash Chandra Bose, imagined India and the way they fought were very, very different from the means that Mahatma Gandhi adopted.
I'm a former journalist. I'm a journalist. I tell you the facts. I just report. It so happens about history. Well, one of the big difference between Netaji and Mahatma Gandhi was that Mahatma Gandhi was stuck on dominion status. Is to be like Canada is a dominion of Great Britain. New Zealand is a dominion. And that's why Gandhi Ji wanted a Union Jack on Free India's flag. So the goals of both Subhash Bose and Gandhi Ji were not same. Gandhi Ji was for dominion status and Subhash Bose wanted Puran Swaraj. like America, you will be totally cut off from the British, because on one hand, if you're saying the British came to India, they did all sort of things to us. So obviously we will have no. For Canada to have that link, it makes sense because they are descendants of the Britishers.
Yeah.
So this was one big problem, and eventually, like Pandit Ji and Subhash were on the same side. They virtually forced Gandhi Ji in 29 when this Congress had this, in Lahore, very famous meeting, but Gandhi Ji again, after 5 months, again he came back to the same. So when it came to the crunch, even Pandit Ji changed side, and suddenly we have the transfer of power, and we become a dominion. So India was not a free country. Nalin Ji would know, he was such an eminent lawyer, he would know. India was not a free country. The King of England, George VI, was our head of the state, even after 47. Most people do not know this. The head of the state of India after 47 till 48 was the King of England, even beyond.
Till the constitution actually came into being.
Yeah, but then it doesn't gel well with a lot of things which are being said, that we drove them away and so on and so forth. No, you did not drive anybody away. Union Jack did not come down on 1947. Mountbatten has left a lot of details about it. And then has been for many decades. Now I grew up in New Delhi. Like you have this conspiracy theories about there being secret clauses to the transfer of power, and one of the clauses was about Subhash Bose, that this fellow has been involved in war crimes here and there. So once he resurfaces in India, he should be handed over and tried. So this was in the domain of conspiracy theorists. Now a great change has come about. Like recently, like a couple of years ago, the British government, the British intelligence. So they declassified, their, so this is open, out in the open. This is no longer this is as clear as the daylight. So they have the MI5 has made it known as part of the transfer power. They were secret deals. So now the deals were there. It is confirmed. So there was an unwritten secret clause. The MI5 opened a secret office in Delhi, which was given the nomenclature of SLO, Security Liaison Office. Nobody told me about it. In my parliament, now we are the country, we are the people who keep going all over the world talking about the need for the world peace and to talk about truth, etc. But nobody told me ever in history, in parliament, Pandit Ji, nobody, that we had a secret office of the Security Liaison Office in Delhi. It functioned till 1968. It was wound up not because India wanted, because the British government ran out of money. And our intelligence bureau was reporting to London via SLO. Our directors, beginning with Mr. Malik, Mr. Huja, all of them were the chamchas of the British who were going and reporting to the British even after independence. Not only that, these are matter of record. That's why I'm being very frank with you on national television. The records clearly show they were not only spying and snooping on Subhash Bose family, they were passing on dutifully the, I believe BJP has been very soft on Congress party. They were passing on information to British intelligence after independence.
I want to bring in Arun Anandji also into the discussion. Arunji, a lot of facets of our history have never been taught to us. In fact, they were never been told on the floor of the House and Parliament as well. And now these uncomfortable historical facts are being discussed in the public domain, rightly so. In the polity of today, in real politique, when these historical wounds are being opened, we're talking about them, we are addressing these issues, how is it likely to affect today's politics? And more importantly, vis-a-vis the Congress party, brand Narendra Modi, and the elections ahead in 2024?
I think it's going to have a great impact on today's polity, and it's already having an impact on today's polity. Congress has a lot to answer as a political party which ruled this country for more than 5 decades, and it ensured that only a unidimensional kind of a history that is being taught to the students. And the problem was that at that time there was no internet. So, and the mass media tools were also very much limited. So whichever the ruling party was, so it was able to push its propaganda through these platforms. So now, when we have internet, when you have archives which are available online, when people can talk about it on social media, so people are asking questions. Anybody who talks, who tracks social media, so they can see that people are asking tough questions, and Congress doesn't have answers to these questions. So, and Congress actually doesn't know its own history, because in 1950, but I'll just give you a small example that how Congress has basically shot itself in the foot, and how it is impacting, how it has started. Actually, this whole thing had started impacting the Indian politics since 1950. But Nehru, subsequently Indira, so both of them were such shrewd politicians that they ensured that Congress remained in power without answering these questions. Like in 1950, Nehru wanted his own candidate to win the Congress president election, and Purushottam Das Tandon defeated J.B. Kriplani massively, who was Nehru's candidate.